Orc Tactical Team.
Hey there, this is Malorian, and this is the Orc Tactical Team, and today we're going to be here to be talking about mirror analysis. Now, there's a lot of ways to get better in the game. We've talked about these in the past, whether it's really looking at your list, really looking at each unit, making sure that it's really effective. But one of the kind of more advanced techniques you can do after is the whole idea of the mirror analysis. Now, right away, you can know from this mirror. I'm looking basically at myself. And it's really interesting how deep this can really go and how much you can improve if you actually use this. Really to say where this kind of comes from is going back to my days where I actually played chess a lot. And, you know, I would play against my dad and he'd kick my butt and all these things. And it really wasn't until later when I was playing against other people, like say in the chess club, where what we would do sometimes is they'd say, hey, okay, play your game, learn your moves, learn all the different things you should be doing. And then after you've kind of developed those and you have your idea of this is my plan, this is my favorite type of moves, take the board and you flip it around. So all of a sudden, you are having your opponent's pawns and other models in front of you, and it's the reverse. Your guys are on the other side. Now, at first glimpse, this seems very, very foolish. I mean, all you're doing is making it so you have to reach farther for your guys, and this is all really dumb. Well, it actually turns out that it gives you a very different perspective on the game. All of a sudden, you're looking at it with the mindset of this player, and you're saying, wow, okay, I could be attacking here, and oh, okay, wow, I actually have a really big opening here that I need to cover for. But of course, you're controlling the other side. So if you're seeing like, oh, geez, I could really attack there, well, I better defend against it. Or, geez, I actually have an opening here. I better move something there to attack it. And it really just gives you that different perspective on the game. Now, this isn't just for chess. You can also apply this to your Warhammer game. And really all it comes down to is taking whatever plans you have, either offensive or defensive, and then switching them around and asking yourself, how would you deal with it from the other side? So, for example, if you have an attack plan and you say, I'm going to be taking this, and I'm going to be awesome. I'm going to be attacking the opponent this way. This unit's awesome. These synergies are awesome. It's the way to go. Well, what you do then is you say, what if I was to face this? If I was to face this, how would I deal with it? A very big one that I'm pushing right now is that people are in love with the Wild Riders. And I keep on telling them, what would you do if you faced Wild Riders on the other side of the table? And it's at that point they say like, oh, well, I would just shoot them, or I would just be making sure to put units in their way to redirect them so that, sure, they can move around, but I'd be denying them their charges. Or if they do charge, they're being forced to overrun, so I'm controlling them. Or I'm going to be frenzy baiting them. And it's just that whole idea turned around. And it even goes defensively as well, right? They would start saying like, oh, well, I could protect my Wild Riders by making sure that they're in woods, or I'd be doing this. And then I say, okay, that's great. Again, take it, switch it around. And all of a sudden they're saying, oh, well, okay, if I face someone that was using Wild Riders and trying to protect them from my shooting, from putting them in the wood, well, first of all, they're kind of telegraphing where they're going to go because that's where the cover is. I'm going to have more freedom of knowing where they're going to be and where to put my guys. And really, even with the minuses, I can accept those minuses, and it's still going to do a lot of damage. Or, if they put themselves so far out to be in cover, I can then focus on the other things for a turn until they actually move somewhere where they're actually a threat. And it's interesting just how much of a different perspective that gives you. Now, one of the things you can do with yourself then to try and see how your own army deals with this is probably the first thing to do is just go take out your tournament army and lay it down on the table in like a standard deployment. Then go to the other side of the table and take a look at it and use it from the mindset of your different other tournament lists. I mean, really, maybe you might have to think of it as like a mirror match if you actually don't own other armies. But for example, I could look at my Orcs and Goblins and say, okay, how would my Dwarves take this on? How would my Wood Elves take this on? My High Elves, whatever, my Lizardmen. But you go and you do that, you start seeing like, geez, okay, there's actually a gap here where I can be attacking. Or whatever, right? You start seeing these different holes or strengths and knowing that where you have to attack, so that once you turn that table back around again, you say like, wow, I actually have a big leadership problem over here. I have to change my deployment to actually deal with that. Or, oh, geez, you know what? I actually don't have an answer for this type of attack. I might have to change my list in order to deal with this. Now, you can actually take this another step further too, and you can even do this inside of a tournament. I don't think you need to do this all the time. Say, for example, if it's a magic phase or a shooting phase, and you're really just rolling those dice there, it's probably not that critical. However, if it's something where you're just going through and doing a critical movement phase, or especially in those first few turns where things are really setting themselves up, there is nothing stopping you from walking around and looking at the board from the other side. I mean, if you really want to, you can mask it with lies, like, oh, I'm just trying to check out line of sight, or I just want to look at your models or something. But really, you can just be honest and say, hey, I just want to see this from the other side, come around. You don't have to go and explain to them the whole idea of mirror analysis, but just walk over and take a look and see how things are matching up. And then again, you'll start seeing like, oh, wow, actually, I was going to go here, but if I do that, they're actually set up the counter charge. Or actually, looking at this, I was going to attack here, but there's a better opening here. Like, this is a real weak point. So, you don't have to be doing this all the time. Once you really develop this skill, then really it's something that will come more naturally. You'll go into the game, you'll have your plan, you'll start thinking ahead how they're going to be countering you, and it'll come more natural. It's almost like at the very beginning, you have to force it on yourself. Hey, if you and your friends are really wanting to give this a good old college try, do that, like I said with chess. Play the game from the opposite side and just see the massive perspective change it gives you. So there you go. That's mirror analysis, and I hope you liked it. Bye.